Today we're going to go over person-centered thinking. So our objectives are to become familiar with the general principles and values of person-centered methods, learn the key concepts of person-centered thinking and how the approach differs from person-centered planning, and review some person-centered thinking skills. So here are 7 person-centered myths. 1, we're already doing it. 2, person-centered planning means asking the person, what do you want? 3, person-centeredness means a person getting everything that they want. And 4, a good plan means a good life. 5, person-centeredness applies only to one type of disability. 6, a person-centeredness only applies to those working with people who receive services. And 7, person-centered planning is a planning process that can be done separate from more significant organizational changes. 5 foundational beliefs common to all person-centered approaches. Number 1, essential questions are, who is this person and is what is important to him or her? With person-centered, it tells it all in the name. It's centered around the person. So we want to make sure that we know who the person is and what is important to them. Everyone's different and an individual. So when we're planning and doing things such as service plans, BISSPs, ISSPs, even person-specific training, we want to make sure that it's catered as much to that person individually as possible. We don't want to have a cookie cutter BISS plan just because we have multiple people who need to work on hygiene or money management. It's going to be specific to that person and how we can help them. 2, person-centeredness aims to change common patterns of community life. We want to stimulate community hospitality, enlist community members in assisting focused people to define and work towards the desirable future. That's why getting out to the community is very important. We want to make sure that they are able to experience people that are outside of the disability community and that they see other people. And sometimes that has to happen by us stimulating community, letting them know that this is a normal. This is not something that they should be afraid of, or showing them how to interact with people that have disabilities in the proper ways. Person-centeredness fundamentally challenges practice that separate people and perpetuate controlling relationships. We want to make sure that people have their rights and they're able to make decisions. Sometimes it can be hard as a provider or someone in a person's life because just like everyone else, sometimes they don't make the best decisions. Sometimes maybe they're not thinking about what is the best for them, and we feel that we know more. So sometimes we can kind of have a controlling relationship trying to help them, but really we're harming them. Honest person-centered planning can only come from respect for the dignity and completeness of the focus of the person. That can be a hard thing to break away from, like I mentioned before. Sometimes we try to do stuff thinking it is in the best interest, but it's not. We want to make sure that we respect the dignity of the person that we're assisting or helping. And 5, assisting people to define and pursue a desirable future tests one's clarity, commitment, and courage. It can be difficult. There's going to be hard times. There's going to be times where people want to give up. It's going to be challenging, but we have to make sure that for the best of the person, we are making sure that we are person-centered. And that's the whole team. So we want a system where the people who uses the service, with supports of their family, providers, team, tell us how they want to live. Make use of public resources that they have the life that they want or as close as we can determine. And get the support they need to make the first 2 happen. So we want them to be able to tell us what they want, and we can help encourage that and help make that happen to the best of our abilities. And then using resources that they can make the way they want. So for example, if someone wants to get a job, we have resources for that. A system where the people who provide services, that's your family caregivers, that is day program services, providers, are empowered to make a difference. We want to help them make a difference. Without support, you're going to feel like you're failing, and you're going to fail typically. So, us as an agency, we're going to help empower you. And we're working all as a team so we can empower each other and then use public resources wisely. So, if you've ever had in the past where a resource wasn't available, or maybe someone didn't know of a resource, make sure you're asking, make sure you're advocating for that person to see if there are resources. Keep asking those questions, keep reaching out, and we'll see if resources are available. And if not, what can we do to help that person? And they're going to get support they need to make the first two happen. So, like, we're here as an agency to help support you, to help support the client. Everyone should be about the individual. Some valued experiences. This isn't all of them. Some of them kind of align with the rights, but these are some things that personal relationships, those are those friends, families, things that are important to that person. We want to find out more. What is important? Who is important? Who can we work on? Sharing places and activities. So their shared space, who their roommate is, activities you do in the home and the community. Contributing, the things that they contribute to society, to home life, to day program. What's important to them? Making choices. We want to make sure that they have options on, it could be dinner, it could be what movie they want to watch, what activity they want to do, and that they're being treated with respect and having a valued social role. We want to find out what extent they want to be into the community. We want to encourage them to be part of the community, but we want to make sure that it's done with respect, and people in the community are respecting them in their role and whatever they want to take. So when you have planning versus thinking, planning is those events that are focused on action planning, specific events, where person-centered thinking is everyday ways of thinking. It impacts now and creates foundations for the future change and action planning. So we want to make sure that every day we're thinking person-centered. It's going to change. It's going to evolve. Where person-centered planning, yes, it can be used in service plan. That's something that's done yearly, but we also want to make sure it's being implemented in a daily basis. So when things change, we have to make sure that they're known and how we can support them better. So person-centered thinking is a deliberate method to see the whole person. We're not focused on fixing what's wrong. We're not looking for what's wrong with this person. We want to see the whole person. What do they like? What do they dislike? What's their favorite color? These are important things to know the person. It's a set of tools that convey the core belief that all people have gifts to share. We want to see what kind of things they're good at. What do they like to do? A set of skills that result in teams keeping the focus on the person who needs support, not the agency. With person-centered thinking, it's not about the providers. It's not about the agency. It's about the person. So we want to see what we can do to help support them. Yes, we also need to support the providers and make sure that they have the tools that they need in order to support the individual. But it should be focused on what's best for the client, not what's easiest for the provider, not what's better for the provider or the agency or day program. How can we support this individual? It's a way to discover, describe, and assure the desired life in the person who is supported. We want to make sure that they're living their best life as close as we can get it, because we want that for ourselves as well. You have to put yourself in their shoes and think, how would I feel if I were them? So the core concept, we're going to go over what's important to and what's important for. So we have a scale here because we want to find a balance between the two. Important to, those are your things in life that help you be satisfied, content, comforted, and happy. That can include people to be with, relationships, things that you do, places to go, rituals and routines, rhythm or pace of life, things to have. It could be things like getting a job or going to day program. It could be religion. Maybe they'll enjoy go to church. And those are things that are important. It helps them be satisfied. What is important to a person includes only what people are saying. It can be with their words or their behaviors. If you have time where words and behaviors are in conflict, you want to listen to the behaviors. It includes what matters most by the person's definition. So what's important to you may be completely different than what's important to another person. Important for. So these are things that are issues of health and safety. Their physical health, their safety. That can include wellness and prevention, like doctor's appointments, psychiatry appointments, medications. And yes, they're important for a person, but they might not find it important to them. Maybe they don't care about the doctor. Maybe they don't care about the medications. Emotional health and safety, and that's including supports that are needed. Maybe they don't see why they need to go to day program, but it helps them with community and that interaction with people. So what other people see is important to help the person to be a valid member of community. So when we think about important to, if someone may think games is important to them, they're not important for them. They wouldn't die without games, but they may not do well because they're not seeing a doctor. So that's important for. And we have to have a nice balance between the two, because if we give too much on one side, you have a person who is just getting everything that they want and they're not getting help emotionally or physically, and they're not seeing those important things. Could be hygiene. Maybe they don't think showers are important, and it's important for us to help them see why. So if something's important for us, but it's also important to us, typically we'll do it. So if you think doctor's appointments are important, you're going to go to them. You find your health important. Some people don't find their health important, so they're probably not going to go. If something's important for us, but not important to us, we may not have any interest in doing it. So maybe day program is not important to us. It may be important for us to go to learn those special skills that they offer, but if we don't think it's important, we may not have any interest in it. If we want people to attend to what is important for them, it has to be an aspect of it that is important to them. So this is why it's important to explain things, and we come up with plans in order to help them, like verbal redirections, stuff like that. Informing people of why something is important. Because if we just tell someone to do something, it's not going to help. They're going to feel threatened by it and probably avoid it altogether. So sometimes we have to start small. So if it's a hygiene issue, maybe it's showers we start with, or washing hands. And we explain to them why it's important to wash our hands. It's for bacteria, etc. And then we move on from there. So balancing important 2 and 4, the sequence matters. We want to learn about what matters the most to the person. This is a critical aspect. So we want to find out what matters the most. What's the most important thing in their pyramid of important stuff? So what's at the very top? And then you can list the other things. What's next to that? What's important as well? It's not about either or. Paying attention to health and safety and value social roles is critical, but alone it is insufficient if not in the context of important too. So they can have their stuff that's important to them and stuff that's important for them, and we can find a balance. We don't have to take things away or give too much. It's about a balancing act, and everything's going to be person specific. Risk management techniques currently offer focus on assuring safety or the health at the cost of what creates satisfaction for the person. So if there's something that we feel is causing health and safety risk, then we're going to take a look at the risk management on that. And these are ways where HRC and everything comes into play when we have something where a person's putting themselves at risk, and maybe we need to take that step in order to keep that person safe, but there's steps that we have to do in order to do so. So we have to make sure that we are trying different things that are less invasive. We need to change our frame of reference to believe that both can coexist. So just like in your life, you have things that are important to you and important for you. Like maybe you like Starbucks coffee. That's important to you. It's not important for you. You don't need the coffee, but you like it. But you're not going to have it 7 days a week, multiple days, maybe 7. I don't know. I'm not going to judge. But if it was becoming an issue where it was multiple times a day and you were becoming sick, then we would need to adjust to make sure that you can enjoy your coffee, but not too much. We all make trade-offs between many different things that are important to us. Some people may love living in a particular place and are no longer willing to make the trade-off when the living there means a longer commute to work that they love. So maybe you're living north side of town and you're working north side of town and you're like, I love it. I'm super close to work. But maybe you get a job down in Fountain. So you have to sit here and go, do I really love this house? And is it worth the commute all the way down to Fountain? And maybe it's not. Maybe it's too much. Maybe you want to move closer. Maybe you want to find a different job. So just depending on what trade-off you're willing to make for those decisions. We also make trade-offs between what is important to us and what is important for us. These trade-offs can be temporary or long-term solutions. So it doesn't mean it's going to be forever, and that's something that we'll explain to our individual. It could be something short-term, just to make sure that we're keeping them safe. Expressing personal opinions and speaking my mind is important to me, but not swearing in front of my neighbor is important. So here the person speaks their mind and their opinions, but they make sure that they are not swearing in front of the neighbors. Maybe the neighbors don't like swearing. I'm not sure what the context is here, but that's something where they've done a trade-off. They're not hindering their opinion. They're still speaking it. So maybe with your client, they're cursing at you because they don't like what you're telling them. And that would be where you say, hey, it's okay to tell me your opinion, but you don't have to curse at me. You can do it in a more respectful manner. I do the same for you. You can do the same for me. So they can still tell you, we're not taking away that. They can still tell you how they feel. But the way we do it has slightly changed. Defining the problem or goal. So the more time you spend defining the problem, the better the solution. So the more research that you do, finding what the problem is, gives you more information to work on the solution. And the more time you do working on the solution, the better. This isn't something that we have to just hop right up and find the solution quickly, get it done. There may be a time where we have to think on our feet and do something fast, but in the long term, it should be done slowly and with research and as many team members as possible, like when we have ID teammates. So some different learning tools, and I'm going to go over a few, and I'm also going to send out a link to a webpage where I got these. And they have a bunch of different ones, and they're really helpful. I really like them. And I'm not going over all of these, but there's a few, and I'll show you. But these can be found on the website as well. So the first one I have, for example, is called the relationship circle. So it's going to capture who a person knows, how they know them, who else is in their circle that knows them, and how these network and relationships can help a person live the life they choose. And how it helps is it's a way of identifying who is important to a person and to explore the important issues around these relationships. It feeds into support planning because it highlights those people who should be involved in planning and helps to discover which relationships can be strengthened or supported. So here we have family, school, and you can kind of change these to kind of help whatever's specific to the person. So maybe they don't go to school, but maybe they go to day program, or maybe they have job coaching. So if they don't go to school, we can definitely change that to something that's pertains to them. Friends and non-paid relationships. So these are going to be those people in their life, maybe natural supports, friends, maybe friends of family, people at day program, online friends. And then we have home and other paid supports. Such are providers, day program, SCC, those types of people. Typically, your friends in non-paid relationships may not be involved unless it's a natural support. They may be. And then family. And you can also find out what, if we have like dad, do they have a good relationship with dad? No. And find out why. How can we support that? How can we make their relationship better? And a lot of these people are going to be involved in the planning of the person. So depending on what we're looking at, maybe we're looking at behaviors or something where day program would be involved, and the host home providers. Maybe they have family, want to see what their take is, how they've helped in the past. The next one is called the learning log. And what it does is it gives you a process to help record what learning while supporting somebody. It's most useful when people are trying out new activities or being supported by a new staff member, and then capturing the information and reviewing it. The whole team can keep learning on how to best support. So, for example, in day program, if you have a new person coming on or you're trying new activities, this would be a good way to see, like, are these activities working for this person? And also give someone kind of a snapshot of things that do work and don't work for a person. So the reason it helps is it's a really simple way of giving in-depth knowledge and understanding of a person shared within a wider team so that they can also support them. They should be reviewed regularly by team leaders and shared with people involved in support. This is also a good thing to share across programs. So maybe the host home provider is keeping a log and they want to give us a day program, or vice versa. It has the date, what the person did, who was there, what did they learn about, what worked well, and what did you learn about what didn't work. So here you could have the person went to the park. They saw a dog. What worked well? They were really happy that they saw the dog, but what didn't work? They got upset when they couldn't go pet the dog. So there you would know, and you can go into more details what happened. Did they have behaviors? Did they just shut down? Did they want to leave? And that way we can kind of learn trends and patterns of, how to help a person, or maybe what to try to avoid. Next, we have working, not working. So it sorts what's working and not working from different perspectives to identify a way forward. So it's pretty simple. You'll write what's working for the person and what's not working. And then we have a section for family and a section for staff. And again, it's kind of interchangeable for whatever you want to look at a person. Maybe they do go to school and you want to see what's working there. Maybe it's job coaching. Whatever it may be, you can kind of make it specific to the person. And then at the very bottom, it said what needs to happen next to build on what's working and change what's not working. So how this helps, it's a simple way of analyzing what's happening in someone's life from more than one's perspective. It can help identify whether what is important to them is present in their life and whether they are being supported in a way that makes sense to them. So this can be a good tool for someone who is verbal and someone who's not verbal. So on it, you can put down what you've noticed. If they're not able to tell you. If they are able, you can always ask them questions. What's working for you? What's working for you at home? What's working for you at day program? How about family? Maybe they want to work on the relationship with their mom. Maybe they feel that their mom is too involved in their life. And then you want to find ways to help what's not working. And again, they can be involved in that as well. What do they think they can do better? Or what can happen to help make these things that are not working work? Good day, bad day. So this is another tool that can be used for people who are verbal and nonverbal. You can also ask, what does a good day look like for you? What does a bad day look like for you? Maybe you've seen a good day and you've seen how it starts, and then you've seen them in a bad day. And we can find out those triggers that, what makes a good day and a bad day a bad day. And then at the bottom it says what will help to take, or what will it take to have more good days than less bad days? Maybe they're able to answer that. Maybe that's something we need to work on and find out as a team. What can we do to make sure that they have less bad days? Because that's ultimately our goal. We don't want people to have bad days. So this is a good way to learn about what matters to someone and what supports they may need. We need information about everyone who receives support and colleagues as well. This is a way to start or add a one-page profile, and for those supported, and decide on together on actions. It helps the person to have more good days and less bad days. What needs to happen? This is recorded in an action plan. So this is something that could go day program or other services that a person has, school or wherever, to see like what a bad day looks at each different thing. It may look different. So we kind of need to see what happens so we can make it better, or attempt to. So the next one is called 4+1 question, and it helps people think about particular challenges or situations and plan for change. It is answered by more than one person typically. It groups together learning from different perspectives. So having one of these for the different supports that a person gets, it may help. And it has some very specific questions like, what have we tried? What have we learned? What are we pleased about? And what are we concerned about? So if we have something, for example, like behaviors, we want to see they're eloping. So what have we tried to help them or keep them from eloping? We've used redirection. We've used information. We've tried to keep those triggers, but we can't figure out, exactly what's triggering them to want to elope. We've tried sitting with them until they go to sleep and they've woke up in the middle of the night and eloped. We can put what we've learned. Maybe there's some certain triggers that we've seen, but we can't get them down to a science to stop them all, or something maybe we can't stop. Maybe medication time is a trigger. You can't keep someone from taking their medications because it's important, but hey, that's a trigger. Let's see what we can do to learn more about this. What are we pleased about? Maybe because we know that medication is a trigger, we're able to decrease those numbers of elopement. Maybe we have been able to kind of track it, and it's not happening 5 times a week, it's happening 3. And that would bring us to what we're concerned about. We're still concerned that it's happening. So what do we need to do next? And that could be something like, well, we know medication time's a trigger. Maybe we can come up with something where, after medication, would look forward to having some ice cream or watching a movie, see if that would help. These are also important because when all of our efforts fail and we have to put in something like a rights modification or something to an alarm, we can pull these up and show the different things that we've tried in order to help a person. So the question here might be, is this also happening at day program? So we can compare this with day program. Are they having the same issues? If they are, what are they trying? What did they learn? And we can compare the two as a team and see how we can support this person. So next, and it's hard to see, and I'll send out these links. We have, these are the tools, and then where I got the information for the slides. So here's the website, and it has a bunch of tools that with the person-centered thinking, you can just click on them and it'll bring you to the page and it'll give you examples. This one's perfect week. So it shows what a perfect week looks like for a person. It tells you what it does, how it helps, and then you can also download the template. So you just click and then it brings it up. And then you can use it. So I just suggest popping on here, and it also gives you some different care support planning. It talks about one-page profiles. Just a lot of stuff that you can look into. And I will be sending out these links so you can look at them yourself. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll be sending out a test here soon.